Hello everybody and welcome back here at IndySportsCrew.com, the fourth and final segment of our college football preview, and we're taking a look at the Purdue Boilermakers today. Purdue last year got back to where they want to be, and that's a bowl game. They went 7-5 last year. Coach Danny Hope has really done a nice job in recruiting. He's gotten a lot of guys from the southern part of the country, especially out of Florida. He's getting some good guys to come into Purdue, and they're really starting to get that rolling and get back to where they have been. They have a great football tradition there, and Coach Tiller had that thing really rolling about 10 years ago. Dropped off a little bit at the end of his tenure, but Coach Hope has done a nice job of getting them back on track. Getting back to a bowl game last year was a big key for them, and a big key for Coach Hope. That's a selling point that you can go into a recruit's house and talk to him about how they're on track and how they're going to bowl games and winning bowl games as they move forward. But the biggest question in Purdue land is who's going to play quarterback this year for the Boilers? I mean, you got three options. You got Rob Henry, you got Caleb Turbush, and then you have the Miami transfer and Robert Marve. All three guys have started before. Henry was the starter the majority of the season 2 years ago. Turbush started every game last season. And then Robert Marve is the guy who has started both at Miami and at Purdue, so he has a lot of experience. But it's just a case of who do you want to go with, and if you're Coach Danny Hope, to me, you got to make that decision before your first game and stick with that decision. You can't just have a revolving door back there, because then you're never going to have any consistency back there, and your players aren't going to know what to expect. Not just the quarterbacks, but the offensive line, the wide receivers, the running backs. No one's going to know what to expect. If it was me, in the opener against Eastern Kentucky, Coach Hope's alma mater, I think I would go with Caleb Turbush. He's the guy that started all 13 games for you last year. He had a pretty productive season, and it was only his first year as a starter. I think he would improve and play well this season if you go with Turbush. Show him the confidence that he's your guy, and then I think he'll have a very good year. But that's the question. Who's going to play quarterback at Purdue? I mean, this is the cradle of quarterbacks. That's where all these guys have been coming through, and numerous guys have gone through Purdue and gone to the NFL and had great careers, and now you can't find a guy. That's the biggest question. Their defense is going to be very stout. It has been very good. It's going to be very good this year. You got Ricardo Allen back there at cornerback, and Kawan Short, who's a stud defensive tackle. They got both these guys are going to be playing on Sundays coming up here in the near future, and so the defense is going to be ready to go. It's if your offense can stay on the field, score some points, give the defense a little bit of leeway, get some pressure on the quarterback when he's got to drop back to pass. That's how you're going to have success if you're Purdue this year. We're looking at the schedule. There's one very, very tough stretch that Purdue has in the middle of the Big Ten season where they go Michigan and Wisconsin at home and then at Ohio State. That's a tough 3-week stretch. It's a very tough 3-week stretch. But for Purdue, if they can navigate that, if they can get one out of those three at least, they have a really good shot. And here's something else to think about if you're Purdue. You're in a division of the Big Ten where only 4 teams are eligible to make the Big Ten championship game this year, since Penn State and Ohio State are ineligible. You have a chance to make a push at that Big Ten championship game, which guess what, is in Indianapolis. All your fans would be there if you got to advance to that championship game. So they could really, really threaten that. I see the Boilers this year at about 8-4. Now I'm not sure if that gets them into that championship game, but you could be on the cusp, especially if you knock off one of those guys. If you could beat Wisconsin at home, if you could beat Michigan at home, even go on the road and beat an Ohio State. Make sure you take care of business against Minnesota and IU, lesser teams in your conference that you need to beat if you're going to be on track to get to that Big Ten championship game. I see the Boilers improving this year, being a very solid football team. I got them at 8-4, and I guarantee you they will knock someone off in the conference that they shouldn't beat, one of those big boys. So Purdue, my prediction, 8-4 this year.